In this video we're going to be looking at getting into games for L5R. First of all, we're going to go over some basic etiquette and setting up. So strangely enough, I'm going to show you this in single player just so I don't want to inconvenience someone else. In the previous video we went over building a deck, so I'm not going to go over that again. What I am going to go over is some things I've seen people describe in the game, things that I didn't even know existed. So for example, if you want to read a card, all you need to do is hover over it and press the Alt key and a big picture comes up. Now my eyesight is pretty poor, so this is a very helpful thing. So anytime you want to see a card, you can just zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, like so. I really need to figure out how they do this, because... So I've just done something else there. If I just grab it, I get the whole bunch, but if I click draw first and go on the side, I can just get the one off the top. So that's going to be something I'm going to have to remember. I could just hover over it, press F, hover over it, press F, hover over it, press F, and I can press Alt to see what it is, Alt to see what it is, Alt to see what it is. I don't even have to let go of the Alt button, I can just hover over it. Excellent. Let's see if it works with this. So I'm going to deal cards to my hand. I don't know how much the starting hand is, I'm going to admit that now. Gonna go to change color to make myself the red team so I can see these cards. There we go. So you have to make sure the correct team. You can do that by clicking on your name. So again, you can just press Alt to see what cards you have in your hand. Again, WASD to move. Another thing I've learned is Z to zoom in, and you press Z again and you zoom back out. So does this help with the Alt thing? Not really. It's still the same size no matter what. Okay. Another thing you're going to need to know is, remember last week last video when I told you how to make the bags with your decks in them? Again, that still applies here. However, if anyone else is in your game and they want to bring in their own decks, you're going to have to do something called promoting. Again, I have no idea how promoting works. I assume you have to click on the name and then you'll be given the option to promote. For example, I've got in my objects, saved objects, if I drill down, I've got my unicorn deck. Now I can bring it in because I'm the ruler of this. As you can see, I've got the host. If someone else wants to bring in their stuff and do what I've just done here, they're going to have to be promoted. So that's another thing you have to be aware of. So once those things are done, you can essentially start playing a game. And what people tend to do is let's just take this one here, aggressive motive, for example. What does this card do? Okay, cannot be declared as a defender. Can barely read that. So let's just say I've got this one in here. It's got 3 military. So let's just say this is a military conflict. I would put this up to 3. So that's that, for example. And then let's say they come in with 4, for example. They bring in a card and it's worth 4. Then I would bring in another one here, let's say. This one's worth 2. And so then I'd bring it up to 5. So on and so forth until a winner's decided. Or they could do something to make this get discarded. So then I remove it. Don't delete it, just move it to the discard, because deleting stuff can be very troublesome. at this stage. It's not your deck. That's one thing you need to be aware of. Okay, now let's say a province gets broken, so F to flip it. What you'd do is you would rotate it. So got Q and E. So you just press Q or E. Just rotate it. Now officially you're supposed to rotate it 180 degrees, but that can be very unclear. So it's just best to do it 90 degrees, at least in this situation. I mean, maybe during a tournament you have to officially do it 180 degrees, but this is just so much clearer. Let's just take this for example. I'll just show you. So officially you're supposed to do this, but that's not always clear. However, if you rotate it 90 degrees, then it's clear, you can tell that it's broken, and it makes things nice and clear. Let's see. You can use the gain 1 fate. So that's up to 7. You can just gain honor. Shuffle hand. What's this? Let's see. Random discard. Let's see what it does. There we go. So if you take damage, you can just randomly discard a card. And that's gone. And you can just, let's say for example, let's take 3 for this one. So you pay the 3. 1, 2, 3. That comes out. Then you can choose to put fate on it. 1, 2. And then this fate, you can just kill it, because this bag has an infinite spawn of it. And that's how it would work. So you've also got the honor and dishonor things here. We got hidden boxes here, so in case you want to do something random, you can just hide it in there, but that's not really going to be used, I don't think. Now let me just clarify what's going on here when I change the team, just to make sure. So, oops, I'm zooming in. So let's have a look. If I change color, I go around and I can't see the cards here. Oh, but I can still grab them. So that's going to be a thing. So that's that. And if you move it, you can, there's a pot here, so you can't see it in there. Okay, so there's a little gap there where you could kind of see it. But as long as it's in there, you can't see it. So that's going to be a thing to note. Finally, so let's see if you press Alt, unless you can see. So then again, I think it's best not to rotate it actually. Let's just make sure about that. So it's data 4. Yep. Okay. Let's just go back now. So you may want to let your opponent just check your honor dial just to be sure that the number is facing the correct way for them, because you can probably do that by setting it to 5 and then 4. So you can't really tell. Now that looks like a 5. Now it looks like a 3. Yeah, so you might want to just let them rotate it around so that looks like a 3. Looks like a 5. So make sure it's the right way for them. Yeah, it was the right way before. I was just being silly. But either way, these are kind of things that you want to just get used to. So you might just want to just come to a single player, just make sure you're used to it. Now, once you feel comfortable doing all these things, just setting up your cards and whatnot, let's just give that a try. Right, so I've got my provinces. When you get this thing out your deck, you're gonna want to drag it here, and then you're gonna want to flip it, take them out, because then your opponent cannot see them. So you have to drag it on the side to get just the card on the top. If you get in the middle, you get everything. See, and this way, you've got them all out here. You can have a look. And you can decide what goes where. So, Ancestral Lands, I'm going to want to flip that, because that's Ancestral Lands. And then I can put it wherever I want to put it. Okay, and then I've got Endless Plains. That's going to be my water one. I'm going to put it right here. Pilgrimage. That's a good one. Put it right here. Manicured Gardens, get me that fate. Let's put that at the end. And the last one takes away their fate, so I put that here. So that's why I want to use these red boxes, or in blue opponent's case, the blue boxes. So I might as well just drag my entire deck there, or what remains of it, and just leave it here. That's done, so I can kill it, because I've always got one saved in reserve, and I can just, you can just set up your deck from here. So just and that way no one can see what you're up to. Alright, that's empty, so kill it. Right, conflict deck. Kill it. Right, so now all I've got to do is just flip it. It flips the entire deck. Click it in the middle, flip the entire deck. See, and then you can just put them, well, after shuffling them, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. That's just weird. Right, there we go, that's just weird. What's the keyword for shuffle? R. So just click R, shuffle. Okay, that makes things much easier to click R, shuffle. And then click the middle to pick up the whole thing. Wow, why is it? Oh, well, that's just weird. Okay. No, wrong one. It should be in this one here. There we go. So that's pretty much the setup. And then there we go. So before I could just click on the side and get it, I don't know why it doesn't work sometimes. I guess I have to click on another card and then I can click on the top card here. That just seems to be the quickest way to do it. But one thing's for sure, I do have to get the side. So let's just have a look. From now on, just going to do that. Just flip them face up. They get to see what it is anyway, but now you get to perform your mulligan. 1 fate, great. 5 fate, oh, that's tricky. 2 fate, 2 fate, that's much better. Do I have any charge? Way of the unicorn, great. Captive audience. Okay, because I've got no charge, I'm going to put this one back. And shuffle, shuffle, card off the top. No idea what it is, but let's see what it is anyway. Much better. You know that you need to select a colour to be able to use your deck. So in this case it's red or blue. You know that if you have an opponent, you're going to need to promote them so that they can bring in their decks without any hassle, because I don't know any other way to do it. You know that you use the calculator to decide to add up all your strength, so that it's very clear how much strength you have on each side, depending on whether you're doing political or military skill checks. The conflict that you can just draw. You may need to click on a card and then hold on the side to get this card at the top. It's best just to flip them face up. And in case, of course, both you can see it, but this way there's no hidden information, and you can see what's being shuffled back. I suppose it's much more honourable in theory this way. You can't see you won't be able to see your opponent card if you're the opposite colour. If you're inside these things, you need to do that just for the main setup, but for flipping the face up, I think that's best. Be aware as soon as the cards leave the box here that your opponent can see what it is, so just be aware of that. Use these buttons here, they're very good. I mean, random discard is excellent. Don't be afraid of them. Click in the middle to drag whole things by bundle. Okay, and remember, Alt key to see what everything is. Now, we're going on to the main event, finding games. Now, in multiplayer, there's something you should know about L5R. First things first, don't search L5R. I know that sounds counterproductive, but I'll show you why. Here is when you search L5R. L5R. Look how many games I get. I get about, not a bad amount. But now if I actually type in Legend of the Five Rings, see, I get... Okay, no, I get them all this time because everyone here has put L5R in the actual name. If they didn't put L5R in the actual name, they would not show up. So let's have a look. L5R. Yeah, so all of them are showing up because they have L5R in their name. However, this is not always the case. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Either way, it's proper etiquette to always have type Legend of instead of L5R. Now, if we have a look here, most people have these private games, which is fine. If you want to be professional about it, have a private game. However, if you can be nice, sometimes it's nice to have extra spaces just so people can observe. So this is one I went to before. I may have to turn off my mic here.
Okay, flip in the Prime province.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Now, my microphone is attached to the C button.
Serene Warrior.
And if you look at the top here, you'll see microphones going off. So they can't hear me because, as you can see, their microphones are on. I've not pressed the C button yet, so my microphone won't
I'll
go on.
honor the warrior
I'll
and dishonor the
quiet.
yoga.
Okay, I'm going to be an observer, so I choose grey. And as you can note, you can't see any of their hand. Glaive guy and...
Bonsai.
Okay, we're not going to stay here long because I don't know if these people want to be filmed or not. So, and I'm not really going to ask because I'm a sneaky shinobi like that. Either way, you could see that they're using the numbers here to add up the strength, just like it's a proper etiquette.
I'm still winning, so I pass action.
And you can see here that Grave Guy has been promoted because he's got the little yellow square. See, promoted, just like so. How to do it, I'm not quite sure. I'm sure you just have to click on it and you'll get it. But either way, that's the super basics of getting into a game and all the things you'll know to play the game. From there on out, I suggest you just have to feel it out. I'm going to leave now. Hope that was helpful. See you on the combat. Well, see you on the battlefield. Duh.